Political analyst Javed Rana is joining us now to discuss the latest developments from the Pakistani capital. Good afternoon, Javed. Thanks for joining us again on the program. Now, Iran and Pakistan have conducted missile strikes in opposing territories. What's the latest that we know? And also, can you bring us up to date on Pakistan's latest strike in Iran?
Well, I think it was a tit-for-tat response because Pakistan wasn't expecting that a friendly country, a brotherly Muslim country, would carry out an attack on Pakistani soil of the border. Something was unprecedented, something was unheard of. And Pakistan came under extreme pressure from the general public and also from the security establishment. I think they were left with no option but to retaliate in a manner that is a more proportionate. And I think what we have seen now, Iranians have admitted that the 10 foreign nationals were killed. My interpretation of this is that Iranians are admitting that they were sheltering terrorists from Pakistan. These were the terrorists who have been sponsored by both Iran and both Pakistan's other neighboring country, India, and they have been carrying out terrorist attacks in Pakistan's southwestern Balochistan province, and they have killed over the years thousands of people, including most prominently Pakistan's military soldiers, other paramilitary security officials. So I think in a way, it seems that Iran has made huge miscalculation. Iran thought that by carrying out attack on Pakistan, like it did in Iraq, like it did in Syria, and it would be managing to propagate that these were the regional headquarters of the Israeli intelligence network of Mossad. I think that may have worked when it comes to Syria and when it comes to Iraq. But when it comes to Pakistan, the situation is very different. Pakistan is a country which has not normalized ties with Israel, but Iran suspects that Pakistan, in one way or the other, is more in line behind the scene with Israel through Saudi Arabia, and it has protected some of the militant groups inside its territory who have been attacking on the Iranian security personnel. My understanding of the situation is it would be speculative to blame that those terrorist groups or those militant groups have been backed by Israel or the US. But one thing is certainly clear, that Sunni groups in Sistan, Balochistan province, which borders with Pakistan, that population, Sunni population, feels very much marginalized and they feel very much discriminated. And in retaliation, they have been carrying out attacks on Iranian Revolutionary Guards and other security personnel. So in that context, Iran tried to basically expand its retaliatory action against Mossad, propagating that it was also a Mossad network. It has completely backfired. Rather, I would say, now Iran and Iran's assets, particularly its intelligence assets in Pakistan, have come under scrutiny. You may recall that there have been a lot of insurgency in Iraq and in Syria, and tens of thousands of people from this part of the world, from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, particularly from Pakistan, they have been sneaking into Iran from Pakistan's Balochistan province, going to Iraq, going to Syria, and fighting against the rival sectarian Sunni groups. So that had resulted a sectarian conflict in Pakistan, and there were apprehensions that if these groups are not contained, like the Sunni groups against which Pakistan has been carrying out many intelligence-based operations, there could be a retaliation in Pakistan, since Houthis have already warned the USA and UK that there would be retaliation against the strikes they have conducted inside Yemen. There have been apprehension in Pakistan that the armed Shia groups who were trained by Iran and they have fought insurgency in Iraq and Syria, they may retaliate here. And I think in that context, now all the assets of Iranian assets, particularly their intelligence assets within the Pakistan's intelligence network, within Pakistan's military, within Pakistan's civil bureaucracy. Now they have come under scrutiny, and more importantly, their militant groups. They have also come under scrutiny, particularly in Pakistan's northwestern region. There have been sectarian clashes. Iran has, there are many people inside Pakistan's media who are on executive position. On a theological ground, they have not been giving coverage to the pro-Iran militant groups in Pakistan, though they were involved in sectarian violence. And that has been part of the problem, because Iran has managed through its proxies in Pakistan to create a clout and influence within the Pakistan security establishment to come down hard on the Sunni groups. But on the other hand, when it comes to the Shia groups, and that is where the media is not reporting them, there has been informal ban on them, some kind of a ban. They have been censored, not because the government has been asking them, because there are people within Pakistan's media top managements. They have come up with a kind of policy that serves Iranian interests. So in that context, I think Iran made a huge miscalculation. Now, particularly the armed group, Shia armed group, they would be under scrutiny, and Pakistan is on a kind of a alert right now that Iran may further attack. But my understanding is that things are cooling down. This tension is going to come down. The reason being is that Iran is already well engaged in the Middle East, in the Red Sea, in other parts of Middle East. But now Pakistan has made it clear that Pakistan would not make it look like a normal activity for Iran to carry out attack on its territory. Pakistan is not a Yemen, Pakistan is not Iraq, Pakistan is not a Syria. It's a nuclear-armed Muslim nation. Pakistan has been enjoying a brotherly relation with Iran, and it wasn't something Pakistan was expecting. It did carry out drone attacks in the past. It did carry some sort of ground incursions, but this time around, it was a missiles incursions. And Pakistan's armed forces, probably, they were already facing a lot of tough time politically, domestically. For them, it was a bit intolerable to put up with this kind of situation.
All right. Now, Iran has claimed that it targeted the ul-Adl terrorists in the Balochistan province, but 2 civilians were killed. Now, what's the reality of this terror group, and why was the Iranian strike needed in the first place when there are multiple channels of communication between the two countries?
That is the biggest question that Pakistan has been raising, when that there were multiple communication channels. Why those communication channels were not activated? Why Pakistan was not informed? Pakistan could have come down hard on these militant groups. In the past, Pakistan has been providing a lot of intelligence to the Iranians, and many of these militant groups members were detained, and then some of them were even hanged by the Iran. And it happened on Pakistan's intelligence. Not this time around, Iran tried to create an impression, and they propagated that they carried out this attack with some sort of consent with the Pakistan security establishment. That was an impression they created. And that I think that is something which came down very hard, that as if Iranian intelligence assets or their other assets have been collaborating with Iran in terms of providing intelligence to carry out that attack. And that is why Pakistan had to react. But the question that you raised, that is important, that since these communication channels were not activated, something which were not activated, and then a very misleading impression was created that perhaps Pakistan's security establishment was involved, was in league in carrying out these attacks. So Pakistan armed forces, particularly I appreciate here Pakistan Air Force, they had to retaliate. And now the fact, Iran has admitted this fact, that there were 10 foreign nationals, that indicates what is being perceived in Pakistan as some kind of a loose alliance between Iran and Pakistan's arch rival India. Because Iranian foreign minister has been meeting with his Indian counterparts, And there is a suspicion within Pakistan that they might have shared some intelligence. Both Iran and both India have been sheltering, providing support to these rebel groups in Pakistan's Balochistan province. And these terrorist groups, not only attacking Pakistan's security personnel, but also derailing an international global China's project, CPAC we call it here, China-Pakistan corridor. They have been derailing it. There has been tens of billions of investment in Pakistan, particularly in Pakistan's southwestern province, and there have been attacks on the Chinese, there have been attacks on Pakistanis. So in that context, I think now Iranian role has come under scrutiny, something which Pakistan was ignoring because of the fact that Iran is a brotherly Muslim country. Remember, unlike in Iran, Shia population in Pakistan, they enjoy all kind of equal rights. They have been the prime ministers of Pakistan, presidents of Pakistan, and they have been the chief ministers of Pakistan's major provinces. They have been the speakers of Pakistan's parliament. So the point I'm trying to make that these geo-ul-Adl kind of group, they were created because they were marginalized in Sistan, Balochistan province. They were not given the equal rights as rights were being given to the Shia population in Iran. Unlike in Pakistan, there is no that kind of situation. And that is why I think Iran has been facing tough time in Sistan, Balochistan province. And the bigger part of the problem, bigger part of the miscalculation was that Iran tried to make it as if that these terrorist groups, Pakistan is helping Israel by sheltering these terrorist groups. I think as long as Iran does not resolve their internal problems with the Sunni population, these kind of issues, problems would keep on cropping up, and these allegations are not going to work for the simple reason that Iran needs to provide equal rights to the Sunni population. Iran insists that it is providing, but again, these terrorist groups, which it calls them as terrorist or militant groups, whatever they are, but they are pointing out that they have been marginalized. So again, the bigger picture that has developed in Pakistan, that Iran, since has a defense pact with India, in 2002, it had a defense pact with India, and there are apprehensions in Pakistan that in the event of a war with India, Iran can provide military bases in its Sistan, Balochistan province, which borders with Pakistan, to India, and that India can carry out attacks on Pakistan in the event of any major conflict with India. So now I think everything is under scrutiny, but my understanding of the situation that it seems that the sense seems to be prevailing in Tehran now. There is perhaps a realization that it was a miscalculation because Iran has jeopardized ties with Pakistan at a time when Iran has a moral edge. Iran is the only Muslim country which has been providing support to the Palestinians. Unlike Pakistan, unlike other Arab countries, this is also a fact. But Iran now unnecessarily tried to expand its war theater to Pakistan, which has blown up its intelligence assets in Pakistan, which has blown up the identity of the armed groups, Shia armed groups, Shia militia groups in Pakistan, which runs into tens of thousands. You may recall in 2016, it is not a secret, Iranian top military general, he made a public statement, General Jafri. He said that there are 200,000 trained insurgents across the region from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from Yemen, from Syria, from Iraq. Now there are calculations within Pakistan's security establishment. There are some estimates suggesting that perhaps tens of thousands among them are Pakistani Shia militants who are largely operating from the northwest of Pakistan. So in a broader picture, I think this Iranian miscalculation has backfired, and it does not bode well for the bilateral relation between two brotherly countries.
Okay, Javed. Now, lastly, the Turkish foreign minister said earlier yesterday that Turkey is ready to mediate tensions between Iran and Pakistan. Now, how important can Turkish mediation be for both sides, and What are the likely actions that Iran and Pakistan may take in the days ahead?
My understanding of the situation is that the situation would not go to the tipping point. Both countries have realized that they would not expand this war theater. I think, to the best of my understanding, this war theater is over. Turkey's help is certainly important. UN Secretary General has also said that he's also ready to mediate. But I think the situation would not go from bad to the worst to a point where Turkey would have to diplomatically intervene, or UN Secretary General would have to diplomatically intervene. But certainly, if the situation escalates, Turkey's role is certainly very important. As we speak, Pakistan's National Security Defense Committee is meeting. They are now deliberating upon in what manner they can cool down this border tension with Iran. My understanding is that the diplomatic channel would be resumed with Iran, and the normal business is going to be resumed with Iran. We have to understand that Iran has also built up a gas pipeline on its side of the border and Pakistan's side of the border. That gas pipeline has yet to be completed, and Pakistan is in breach of a bilateral agreement with Iran. And Iran can give Pakistan a tough time because Pakistan is in a breach of the contract. So Pakistan would not like that these bilateral ties would deteriorate. And also, it is more importantly, when Iran is already overstretched in the Middle East, it would not like to escalate tension, border tension with Pakistan. Also, I think at a time when the Palestinians need help from all the Muslim countries, Iran is the only country which has been providing a meaningful military support to the Palestinians. So in that context, Iranians, I hope, do realize that they should disengage with Pakistan militarily, because Iran doesn't have any territorial dispute with Pakistan. It is uncalled for strikes on Pakistan. Iran wasn't expecting that Pakistan would retaliate, given the fact that it has good influence on Pakistan's military establishment, it has good influence on Pakistan's intelligence establishment and political establishment. But it may be miscalculation that on the part of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard that they thought that Pakistan would not retaliate. Probably this has also come as a surprise for the Pakistan's Prime Minister, because Pakistan's Prime Minister had a meeting with his counterpart in Davos, and on the sideline there was a meeting, and there was nothing of the sort which my understanding was discussed. This issue was not highlighted. So it means the Iranian Revolutionary Guards were operating independently without bringing the top officials of Iran, more prominently the Iranian president, in confidence. So it seems there is also a kind of some sort of difference of opinion on how to handle Pakistan within the Iranian security establishment and within the Iranian political establishment.
For joining us again today, thank you for your insight and contribution.
The growing tide of anti-Israel sentiments. What you see behind me is just tip of the iceberg of what is happening in the country. More than half of $52 billion black CIA budget is spent on espionage network in Pakistan. How would you handle it?
The US has looked upon Pakistan as an ally at one point and then as an enemy at the same time.
That is going to be the first legal reason on the basis of which he is going to be instantly ousted by the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
Joining us live, Javed Rana, who's an expert on politics and geostrategic issues.
In the world politics, which is not being driven by any moral principle, it is being driven by the hard geostrategic realities. In a broader picture, more countries would aspire to have nuclear weapons.